Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and the new edition of our online interview series. We want to get an update today from Skeena Resources, and Kelly Earle is with us here. Hey, good morning to Canada. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning, Jochen. Nice to be here.
Yeah, nice to see you. And I like the background, actually. That looks like a beautiful drill core from your side, I would say, right?
Most definitely. That's Eskay core right behind me.
Fantastic. And we see already lots of shiny things here. That's gold and silver. That's how we like it, right?
Yeah,
super. And you brought out on 4th October a fantastic news, which I really liked a lot, aside of your drilling start and the exploration drilling again to outline more at Eskay Creek. But what I really liked was the Albino Waste Facility. And as you know, I'm from Stuttgart. I'm a Schwabe. Yeah, we love to make gold out of waste for sure. Yeah, and so for that side, I mean, you had drill results like unbelievable: 4 grams gold, 160 grams silver, over 16 meters. Or there was one with over 4 grams gold and 204 grams silver, over 22.8 meters. I mean, those are drill results you would love to see. Let's say half the size outside in the nature, but you drilled into a waste facility.
Yes. So I'll explain the waste facility a bit for you. It's called the Albino Waste Facility. It's where all the historic tailings and waste material went. Well, almost all of them for the majority of the mine life. And there's only about, say, 1 to 2 meters of water on top of this waste facility. So it's called a dead lake, a non-fish bearing lake. It's actually a perfect natural containment site. There's 2 million tons of waste material in this lake. And if you fly over it, you can see where the waste dumps are. It's very shallow. So as I mentioned, only about 1 to 2 meters of water over top. And you're right, we drilled from on top of the ice last winter. We did about 8 holes just to test our hypothesis that there was some high-grade material there, since the cutoff grades when they were mining were 15 to 30 grams per ton gold equivalent. So very high grade. And they were successful. You're right, we averaged about 6 grams per ton gold equivalent over 16 meters. So we decided to come back. We just started up in the fall. We've put a barge on top of the lake and we're drilling from the barge. So we're drilling off the entire lake on 50-meter spacings right now, which is only about 600 meters because it's quite shallow drilling. And then once we're done that, if we've confirmed our hypothesis that there's a lot of material left and that it all contains grade, then we'll go back in and drill it off on 25-meter spacing. So it's pretty exciting. I mentioned there's 2 million tons of waste rock, so we're quite confident we'll have several 100,000 ounces here, hopefully somewhere between 4 and 6 grams per ton of gold equivalent. So it's like finding a new discovery, but you are correct, it's recycling, right? We'll be cleaning up all the material that's in the lake and hopefully putting it through the mill at some point. So it is quite exciting for us and definitely adding some ounces to Eskay Creek.
Yeah, and I could also imagine that the, let's call it AIC to produce that are quite low, because you only must get rid of the water and then just dig it out and process it.
Exactly. And the lake's actually been drained previously. Barrick, when they were operators, they had drained it. They pumped it into the Tom McKay Waste Facility, which is what we're using as the tailings storage facility for when the mine's back in production. It's fully permitted. So they had pumped the water over to that storage facility to grade the edges. So we would look at doing about the same thing. And you're right, just scoop it up off the bottom and put it through the mill.
Fantastic. That sounds great, because that's additional revenue, which was, let's say, not planned really. That's great. Super. So what is going on the Snip project before we come back to Eskay Creek? Because you are also doing you brought out phase 3 results there, right? And
correct.
I think they were also very, very good.
Yeah, so we're doing infill drilling at Snip. The resource that we released, 646,000 ounces, about 2/3 of that is in the inferred category. So it needed to be infill drilled. So yeah, we've had some success. Snip's a very different beast than Eskay Creek. It's narrow vein, it pinches and swells. But you're correct, we had some good results. We're just wrapping up an infill drill program there. And then we will see what happens with Snip, because you're aware that Hochschild Mine has an option to acquire 60%, which comes to fruition later this month. So either Skeena will be carried on the projects, which would be wonderful, and we'd have world-class underground miners operating the project in Hochschild, or if they don't option, then we'll have the project to ourselves, and we'd look at down the road adding that as mill feed to Eskay Creek. So either way, it's a win-win for Skeena.
Absolutely, and that's good for shareholders, which I'm one of. Okay, let's come to your exploratory drilling program, which you started at Eskay Creek. How is it going there? And yeah, what's the next targets here?
So I'm most excited as a geologist about the exploratory drill program that's currently going on at Eskay. So we've drilled over 90,000 meters at Eskay Creek so far, but 95% of that has been infill drilling because we wanted to push forward with our pre-feasibility study and our full feasibility study, which is still on track to be out in Q1 of next year. So we haven't had a chance yet to do exploration drilling. And it's extremely exciting because the cutoff grades were so high historically. I mentioned 15 to 30 grams per 10 gold equivalent, that you'll see drill holes that ended in 8 to 10 gram material that were never followed up on because it was below the historic cutoff grade. So there's an amazing amount of exploration potential. It's only right around the old mine site and the underground workings where there's a plethora of drilling. If you step just outside of that, for example, the 22 zone, which is the smaller satellite pit to the south, that's only hosted in the rhyolite horizon, which is the lower grade material historically. So there's not much drilling around there. And also the way the ore body works is the mineralization comes towards surface as you go to the southern end of the deposit. So 22 zone outcrops at surface. We're looking for lower mudstone horizons below that. That was that ultra high grade material that was mined out historically. They also come closer to the surface at the southern end of the project. So I'm very excited. I can tell you drilling has visually looked good so far. We've liked what we've seen. We've hit some lower mudstones. I mean, time will tell when we get the assays out, but it's very exciting. This first pass of exploration drilling is really focusing on open pit targets to begin with, because that's what we're permitting the mine for. So this summer is open pit only targets, and the next summer we'll get into some deeper underground targets as well. So we've really just begun with the exploration at Eskay Creek, and VMS deposits come in clusters, and we're very confident that we're going to be able to find something. Our exploration team spent the last year and a half doing soil sampling and looking at anomalies and scouring the project as a whole. And we brought in an expert to talk to us about VMSs and exploration. So we're pretty excited to see what it all leads to. And I suspect we'll start to see some exploration drill results from Eskay out within the next month or so.
Fantastic. And this would all add up to your phenomenal PEA you already brought out. I mean, it's not like that this is the first start. No, you already have a super project, and this will add a lot to that. Might those drillings then be included into the pre-feasibility study and the feasibility study, sorry, which will be by end of Q1, I think you are planning for that?
Yes, correct. So you're right. We did the PFS in the summer, and the full feasibility study will be out at the beginning of next year. So no, the exploration drilling won't be included in the feasibility study, most likely not. And that's because when you do exploration drilling, you do a first pass, you do it on very wide spacings, and you would have to go back in and infill drill it, because in order to be a feasibility level, it has to be measured and indicated, so it convert into reserves. So I suspect that this won't be included in the feasibility study because we don't want to delay the feasibility study. The way we would handle that is putting out a PEA update at some point next year, and it would show the potential, the extra ounces that we found, and how we could add that to the mine life in the future. Now, that being said, if we come across some spectacular new discovery, I suspect we would go back in and infill drill it and perhaps delay the feasibility study to include that. But we'll see. But most likely we will wait and do more exploratory drilling next year as well, and then include an update at some point.
Absolutely. That would be a real luxury problem, I would say.
Yes. It's a good problem to have, yes.
Exactly. No, super. I mean, as your company is really on full track, and you guys have done everything completely right so far. It's fantastic. You also added Randy Reichert to the board, I saw, and you did a $7 million flow-through financing.
Correct. So we're very excited to welcome Randy. He's currently the VP of operations at B2 Gold. He is a mine builder. He has 30 years of experience building mines. And very interestingly, he started his career at the Snip mine, which Skeena now has. So it's come full circle. We're very excited to have him on the board. We were missing that mine building piece, and that's really what we're looking for as we push Eskay Creek into development. So we're happy to welcome Randy. And you're correct, we did a small flow-through financing. With all the exploration drilling that we're doing, flow-through financing makes sense because you get a bump on what you raise, and there's lots of exploration drilling to do. So yes, we're now quite well set dollar-wise. I think we've got just under 40 million in the bank right now. So we're financed through to when we would do project financing, which will be after the feasibility study is out next year.
Yeah, and that is really super important. So you cannot be really pressurized, I would call it. And just one comment for Randy Reichert. So for him, it's like coming home.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with you. I've yet to meet him. He's been in Mali lately, but we're very excited to have him, and I'm sure he'll be excited to get back into the Golden Triangle and look around our projects.
Super, and I love to hear he is a real mine builder.
Yes,
because that's what we want to see. Eskay Creek must be the next mine in the Golden Triangle here.
Completely agree.
Super, perfect. Kelly, thank you very much for the update. That all sounds really fantastic. And I think there's also there's only one thing we also should mention, because you have applied for a US listing, right?
Yes, also extremely exciting. So Skeena is about to be dual listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and not the America, the full New York Stock Exchange. Something we've been working on for the past several months. The accounting team's been working very hard in compliance. So that's really exciting. We hope to be up and listed probably the very end of October. So we'll be dual listed. We think that'll do a lot for access to investors, should help with our liquidity, bring on more retail shareholders. Hopefully all of it will be good for our share price. So it's a pretty exciting milestone that we're about to hit with our dual listing on the New York Stock Exchange.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kelly. All the best for that. And I have a very good feeling that we talk quite soon about some fantastic drill results and hopefully new discoveries.
Thank you. Nice to speak with you, Jochen.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kelly Earle from Skeena Resources. You heard it. Things are going really smoothly and really the way how we wanted. The company is progressing extremely well, is fully financed. Put on also Randy Reichert on board, who is a mine builder. I love to hear that, of course. And yeah, we look forward to the feasibility study, hopefully by the end of Q1 next year. And I would suggest you really have a very good look at Skeena Resources if you are not already a shareholder, because I think at those prices, it makes really sense to get some. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Austria.